Okay, now the next part, this next thing, the directions are different. You have a right triangle. Find the 3 side lengths and the 3 angle measurements of the triangle. So when it's asking you to do that, put sides and angles. Now, the only side I know how long it is 15, okay? Now, the angles, we have 28 degrees. You got 90 degrees. And I can get the third angle pretty easily, okay? I know that these have to add up to 180, so I can take 180 and subtract 28, subtract 90, okay? That's 62 degrees. Don't put 62 up there. I don't want you to do that. But the sides is a different story. That's a little bit tougher. That's the meat and potatoes here, okay? And you want this sheet out, okay? Now, you can't use a Pythagorean Theorem. That's not going to, and by the way, what you want to do again, that's the H. Now, for the O and the A, okay, you can't use Pythagorean because you only know one side. That only does you any good if you know 2 sides. What you need to do is identify a reference angle. And obviously, never use 90. Use the 28 that was given to you, okay? So I go across from 28, and that's O, and then A is 15. So I know the A, okay? That's the only thing I know. So I'll put equals A. So the sides I don't know are the H and the O. And what I'm going to do is use a proportion, okay? And on this proportion, you're going to put 1 in the denominator on the first ratio. Now, also on the first ratio, you're going to make a parentheses, and in that parentheses, you're going to put your reference, 28 degrees. Now, you got to decide whether you're using sine, cosine, or tangent, okay? Sine, cosine, or tangent. Well, I'm finding the H here. What side do I have a number for? I have the number for A, okay? So I'm going to pair both of these with A, okay? So if I have H and A, what would that be? Well, it wouldn't be sine. That's O and H. Oh, there's H and A right there. So it would be cosine. And the cosine is A over H. Now, A, we don't need there because we know the A is 15. And of course, the H is what I don't know. Well, I'm going to find it here. Okay, and first let's set up this then. O and A. No, bam, tangent. And tangent is O over A. Now, O and A, you don't know O, but you know A is 15. Now, you're going to cross multiply and divide, but you can't screw this up, okay? I want this done. Circle that diagonal that's opposite the H and multiply. 1 times 15 is 15. Write that down, underline it, and then we're going to divide by cos parentheses 28. And I do that on a calculator. So 15 divided by cos 28, close the parentheses, 16.99. Okay? That's what your H is equal to. Okay, so 16.99 equals H. Now, some people will be like, can I use the Pythagorean Theorem now? No, you can, but don't. You have this all set up. So now circle the diagonal opposite the O and multiply that. Tan 28, close it, and multiply by 15. 7.98. And then divide by 1 would still be 7.98. So that O variable is equal to 7.98. Okay? So 7.98 equals O. Okay? Mission accomplished. Okay, next problem. Again, sides, angles. So the sides, I just have 8. angles, I have 90 degrees, you have 30 degrees, and then add 90, 30, and take 180 minus 90 minus 30, and the remaining degrees is 60. Now it's a 30, 60, 90 triangle, but I'm not going to go with the way from geometry. If you know that right off the top of your head, you're more than welcome to write the rest of the sides down. Okay, you're more than welcome to do that. I'm not even going to put 60. Okay. Now, so what's what here? Well, I know that my h is 8. Okay. Now I need to know what my reference angle is, and it's 30 degrees. Okay, don't even put 60 there, then you get all confused. Use the reference that they gave you. So now to find the other two sides, I need to use proportions. Okay, 1, 1, because I want a 1 there so you actually can see the proportion. Okay, oh, sorry. My reference is 30, so that would be the O, and this would be my A. Okay, so I put the reference degrees right here. Now I got to decide what to use. Now, the two sides I do not know, A and O. And I put that with the side I do know, both of them, H, H. So A and H, that tells me here I would use the cosine. O and H tells me here I would use the sine. And cosine is A over H. And sine is O over H. Okay, so AH. Well, we don't have the A, but we have the H. So get the H out of there, put 8. OH. We don't have the O, but we darn sure have the H, so that's 8. And then the proportions filled out for me to solve for the A and the O. So I multiply opposite the A, the diagonal opposite the A, meaning it doesn't have A in it, and I take cos 30 times 8. 6.93 divided by 1 is still 6.93. Okay, so 6.93 equals A. Now here's my variable, so I multiply opposite. So I take sine 30 times 8, that's 4, okay, divided by 1 would still be 4, okay. So O equals 4, okay. Now, some of you might be wondering, don't write this down. Some of you might be wondering, well, can I use the geometry way because 30, 60, 90, we found the sides a different way. Yeah, you can, okay, definitely. So don't write this down, okay, if you don't want to. If you're not interested in the geometry way, that's fine, okay. So that'd be 60. So we know, and I actually like to have 2 of them here. Okay, so opposite that's 2. This is the ratio. This is the actual triangle I have. Okay, so 2, square root of 3, and 1. Okay, then here we have that as 8. So you know how 1 is half of 2? What's half of 8? 4. Okay, well, it seems to me like I got that as my answer. Okay. Here to here is 1 square root of 3, so what I could do is just make that 4 square root of 3. And you're like, well, how come you don't have 4 square root of 3? Well, if I enter 4 square root of 3 into the calculator, that's 6.93. Okay, so that way it does work, and I'm fine with it. Okay, if you put 4 and 4 square root of 3, that's okay. If you want to stick with this way, that's fine. But I'm not going to do every single one of those problems both ways. Okay. Okay, sides, angles. The only side I have is 8.5, okay? Okay, the angles, I have 90 degrees and 54 degrees. So again, I take 180 minus 90 minus 54. You can also add them together and subtract that sum from 180, same thing. Okay, and that's 36 degrees. So the angles I get without much hassle. Okay, now the sides. There's only, anytime I only know one, I'm going to use the reference angle and the proportions. So I want to use 54 degrees as my reference. So that's your hypotenuse. Across from the 54 is opposite, which we know. And then the third side's the adjacent. So the two sides I don't know how long they are is the A and the H. Or you can put the H and the A, doesn't matter. Now you're going to pair these with O. Okay, so now I go to my proportion. So I put 1, and then I put my reference angle above the 1, so 54 degrees. But I have to know what ratio I'm using. So A and O, tangent, tan, H and O, sine. By the way, don't ever call sine sin. That bothers the heck out of me. The only reason they put that on the calculator is because they couldn't fit the third letter. Okay? So tangent is O over A, and it always has to be lined up that way. Sine is O over H. Okay? Use this sheet to know how to arrange the variables. Okay, so O. Well, I know O is 8.5. A I obviously don't know. O and H. Well, I know O is 8.5. And H I don't know. Okay? So we got to solve for the A. So I find the product in the diagonal opposite the A. You can just cross multiply and divide. None of this ABC crap. 1 times 8.5 is 8.5. Underline that and divide it by tan 54. Now here's what a lot of people will do. They'll say, oh, that's 8.5, and then they'll take their calculator and they'll go tan 54 divided by 8.5. That is ridiculous, okay? So circle the diagonal, write the product down, underline it, and divide by that other factor, okay? Then you know you won't mess it up. 8.5 divided by tan 54. 6.7, 6.18, a 5 would round that up, okay? So my A is equal to 6.18. And again, 8.5 was O, 6.18 is A. I don't care if you put the letters down there, just give me the sides. Okay, 1 times 8.5 is 8.5. Write it down. Underline it, divide by sine 54. Okay. Okay, I got 10.51. Okay, so my H is equivalent to 10.51. Remember, one thing you know, the H should be your longest side. If it's not, you screwed up. Okay. Okay, I got one more. Okay, so again, our goal is to find the sides and the angles. Side, the only one I have is 14 degrees. Or no, 14, not degrees, units. Angles, you got that, by the way, that's a right angle. I forgot to put that. 90 degrees, 17 degrees, and then I subtract 180 minus 90 minus 17. That's 73. Don't put 73 up in the triangle, though. All that's going to do is confuse people. Okay, now I don't know. Again, I only know one side, so I don't use the Pythagorean Theorem. I use the reference, which I will be using 17 degrees. So that's my hypotenuse. Here's the reference right there, 17. It's where the theta symbol, that's my theta. Then A is the side I have 14, so 14's A. Okay, well, I need to find the O and the H, okay? So I pair that with the side I actually know, because then I form a proportion that's solvable. 1, 1. So 17 degrees is going here. Now, if I'm pairing O and A, I would use the tangent operation. And tangent is O over A. H and A would be the cosine operation. And that's your A over H. And A has to be, you have to arrange them in this order every time. Don't ever flip them, okay? Okay, so the O, I don't know that. The A I know is 14. Okay? The A I know is 14, but H I don't have. Okay? So here's my O, so I circle the diagonal that runs opposite, and I just times those. Times I can multiply in any order I darn well please. Okay? But it's that dividing you can't mess up. So 4.28. Multiplication, the order doesn't matter. That means it's a commutative operation. Division is not commutative. Okay, so it's got to be the product divided by the outside. So 4.28, that's my O. And then here's the product. That's 14. Underline, put cos 17. So 14 divided by cos 17, 14.64. And that is my H. Again, the hypotenuse should be the longest side. It's barely longer than the adjacent, but it's longer. Okay, now you have two problems to do on your own. Now, I couldn't fit the degrees in there. That's 35 degrees. Okay, and then right here, that's 31 degrees. It says it right there. Those are your reference angles you'll want to roll with.